Hi, my name is Choua, and I will be playing the character of Madeline in Adventures in Eyewear. I'm currently teaching English in South Korea, and I will be back later this year to do the film. I've had some working experience with Clint Eastwood in Gran Torino, and I've also worked with director Dan Brown in Red Dawn. The movie should be coming out later this year. I teach in a public elementary school in South Korea, so each class has between 30 and 40 students, and they're all very, very cute, and for the most part, they all behave very well, so it makes my teaching there a lot of fun. I enjoy it. I think Madeline, she's a very, very ambitious person. She's young, but in a way, she's not the most friendly, most sociable person. I think Madeline and I are very different because I think I'm more of a social person. I think I'm a little bit more outgoing, and I don't think I'm that manipulative like her. And there's a scene in the script where Madeline is on the phone during business hour complaining about how much she hates her job to a friend of hers over the phone while customers are coming in, and she's ranting on about how much she hates the office, how people there are not doing their job, and she's very impatient. She thinks she's better than the customers. She thinks she's smarter. She thinks she doesn't really care much for them, which is kind of ironic because she works as a receptionist, and that's her job. That's what she's supposed to do, is to actually care for them. A few of my students, their English is very, very good, mainly because their parents speak a lot of English with them outside of the school, and so their parents also encourage them to watch a lot of American movies. And so I've had a few students who've actually watched Gran Torino, and so when they found out that was me in there, when we talked about it, they're like, oh, teacher, movie star. So the kids, quite a few Koreans have actually seen Gran Torino, and I was actually surprised that my children, being as young as they've seen it. So in Korean age, they are 2 years younger than international age, so many of my students are 10 to 12 years old, but in Korean age, they're 12 to 14 because they add 2 years to their birthdays. So they're around 10 to 12. The kids, yes, sometimes they'll run past me in the hallways and they'll say, teacher, I love you, and then run away really, really fast, so that hopefully, hoping that I wouldn't see their face or something. But they're cute. Some of them, they do fun things like that. They're very cute. I like the students. I thought it would be a really good and rewarding experience because, first of all, I do want to travel and see the world a little bit more, and I thought that this would be a good way for me to integrate myself into a new culture, possibly learn a new language and meet new people, and it really allows me to travel within the Southeast Asian countries, so that's part of what drew me into teaching English in South Korea. My grandparents there actually still live in Chiang Mai. I guess a lot of people will call them the hill people in Thailand. I was born there. My parents were born there, but we moved here when I was around 5 or 6 years old. So I've been raised in America most of my life, but my grandparents still live there, and I visited them last summer, and it's completely different from here because in the village that they live in, there's limited electricity, so it's almost like going back 100 years in time. So it's really quite interesting. It's definitely different. Ever since I've been in South Korea, a large part of my diet has consisted of octopus because seafood is very, very popular there, and it's also very cheap. So a lot of Koreans, many of them, tend to eat seafood. Octopus is very, very common there, as well as kimchi. And kimchi is a staple food in Korea, similar to how rice is a staple food in many Asian countries. It's fermented cabbage, and many Koreans tend to have 2 refrigerators, one for regular food and one for kimchi. So it's served at every meal. I think it's an acquired taste, but after a while you get used to it, and a lot of people tend to start liking it. It took me 2 or 3 months, but then afterwards I can easily eat kimchi at every meal. So it's very healthy for you.
Even breakfast.
Even breakfast.